Salt isn't the worst food for your heart. Salt is a significant culprit when it comes to heart disease, as you have undoubtedly heard. However, what if I told you that there's a food that is even more harmful? You want to nibble on it, but it's hiding in your kitchen and refrigerator. Without knowing it could be subtly harming your health, you continue to consume it. This diet causes inflammation, clogged arteries, and elevated blood pressure, all of which weaken your heart over time. Even worse, there's a lengthy list of 13 foods that you habitually eat that are damaging your heart, as confirmed by science. The worst of them all is one. But are you able to recognize this threat before it's too late? You must watch this movie through to the finish if you wish to safeguard your heart and prevent a future full of health issues. Today, I'll tell you which meals are the worst for your heart based on science, and which may be reducing your life expectancy without you ever noticing. Most crucially, at the very end, I'll tell you which food is the worst for your heart. So, take note, this information has the potential to save your health by altering your diet. Join me. Number 13. Sugary drinks and sodas. Imagine ingesting massive amounts of liquid, refined sugar if you believe it to be harmful. Due to the high levels of high fructose corn syrup and other artificial sweeteners they contain, sodas and other sugary drinks are among the worst things for your heart. These drinks, in contrast to solid foods, are rapidly absorbed, resulting in sharp glycemic spikes that worsen insulin resistance and encourage the buildup of belly fat. The liver is the only organ that can digest fructose, one of the primary sweeteners in these items. It raises the risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease by causing the buildup of liver fat when taken in excess. This increases the risk of cardiovascular illnesses by impairing liver function and interfering with the metabolism of cholesterol. Furthermore, obesity, one of the most serious risk factors for heart disease, is closely associated with regular consumption of sugary drinks. Regular soda use has been linked to an increased risk of heart attacks and strokes, even in non-obese individuals, according to studies. This occurs as a result of these beverages' promotion of inflammation, elevation of blood pressure, and impairment of blood vessel flexibility. Because they frequently contain artificial sweeteners that worsen gut flora and increase insulin resistance, both of which have an adverse effect on cardiovascular health. Even sugar-free or diet versions are unsafe. In addition to sodas, processed juices, sports drinks, and sweetened teas are all high in sugar and other unhealthy ingredients. In actuality, boxed juices have nearly as much sugar as soda, despite the widespread belief that they are healthier options. As the body works to absorb the additional sugar and normalize blood insulin levels, the constant consumption of liquid glucose puts more strain on the heart. Eliminating these drinks from your diet and substituting them with healthier options, including natural teas, fresh fruit juices without added sugar, or sparkling water with lemon, is the greatest method to protect your heart. Hydrogenated vegetable oils are number 12. You are probably unknowingly consuming hydrogenated vegetable oils if you use margarine, eat cookies made in factories, or eat food that has been cooked in a restaurant. Trans fats, one of the greatest threats to cardiovascular health, are created when these oils go through a chemical process known as hydrogenation. Trans fats are known to promote the development of plaque in the arteries by raising bad cholesterol, LDL, and lowering good cholesterol, HDL. Constant use of trans fats causes blood arteries to become inflamed, stiffening them and making blood circulation more difficult. Because the heart is overworked, there is a higher chance of hypertension, heart attacks, and strokes. In order to stop the millions of deaths from cardiovascular illnesses that occur every year, the World Health Organization, WHO, has previously issued a warning that there are no acceptable levels of trans fat consumption and advises completely avoiding them from the diet. The fact that hydrogenated vegetable oils are found in many highly processed meals is one of their main issues. Trans fats may be concealed in industrialized ice cream, snacks, stuffed cookies, and even some store-bought breads. The true risk is that although many of these items are marketed as trans fat-free, they actually contain trace amounts that are permitted by law. These amounts, when accumulated over time, can be extremely dangerous. Even refined oils are problematic, including corn, canola, and soy oil. These oils are produced from genetically engineered crops and go through industrial processes that make them unstable when heated, even if they are not hydrogenated. This implies that when foods are fried in these oils, They are changed into harmful compounds that cause inflammation. One of the primary causes of atherosclerosis and other heart conditions is this ongoing inflammation. How can the hazards of hydrogenated oils be avoided? Substituting healthier oils for these dangerous ones is the greatest method to safeguard your heart. Natural options that don't aggravate inflammation and may even be good for your heart are extra virgin olive oil and coconut oil. And don't stop watching, because later in this video, the worst food for your heart will be revealed. Before we get there, though, let's examine a few more dangerous foods that might be harming your heart without you noticing. Fried foods are number 11. Although a lot of people think that too much salt is the main issue with fried foods, the danger extends well beyond that. Large quantities of saturated and trans fats found in fried foods damage the arteries and significantly raise the risk of heart disease. How you fried it is more important than what you fry. Toxic chemicals produced by superheated oil promote cellular aging and induce inflammation. The same oil is frequently reused by fast food restaurants and chains, losing all of its nutritious value and becoming a true health hazard. Regular intake of fried foods, LDL cholesterol or bad cholesterol, rises, increases the amount of triglycerides, encourages the buildup of fat plaque in the arteries, increases the risk of strokes and heart attacks. Fried meals raise the risk of heart attacks and strokes and impair circulation. Additionally, their high-calorie and nutrient-poor content encourages weight gain and raises the risk of metabolic syndrome, which includes obesity, insulin resistance, hypertension, and chronic inflammation. These conditions all significantly increase the risk of developing serious heart problems. Have you noticed that eating fried food frequently makes your stomach feel heavy? This occurs as a result of the lipids in these foods being hard to digest, which overloads the liver and metabolism. Hormonal imbalances that control hunger may result over time, making it more difficult to maintain a healthy weight and more easy to overindulge in calories. The 10th item is processed red meat. In addition to being high in saturated fats, processed red meat also contains chemicals called nitrites and nitrates that are used to preserve and enhance color. The issue is that these substances can become carcinogenic within the body and raise the risk of cardiovascular disorders when consumed in excess. Consuming processed meats on a regular basis is linked to increased LDL cholesterol and artery-clogging fat buildup. These goods are also frequently high in salt, which puts additional strain on the heart and increases blood pressure. Regular consumers of processed meats are more likely to develop heart disease and maybe pass away too soon, according to studies. However, the dangers of these meats extend beyond their harmful fats and sodium content. Preservatives and artificial flavorings are frequently added during the industrial procedures employed in their manufacture, which increases chronic inflammation, a significant risk factor for heart attacks and strokes. How about bacon? Bacon is incredibly high in saturated fat and sodium, even though it's delicious and often consumed. Even worse, it creates harmful substances that impair cell function and raise oxidative stress in the body when it is cooked at high temperatures. The outcome? An increased chance of cardiac problems and degenerative illnesses. Better substitutes. Choose natural protein sources like eggs, salmon, and white meats over processed red meats if you want to preserve your heart. And keep an eye out. You will rapidly learn which foods are the worst for your heart. The crucial time is drawing nearer. Number 9. Vegetable creams with margarine. You might be making a big mistake if you thought switching from butter to margarine was a heart-healthy move. Because it has less animal fat, margarine has long been marketed as a healthier alternative. Nevertheless, trans fats, one of the worst lipids for cardiovascular health, are abundant in many varieties of margarine. Hydrogenation, the process that transforms liquid oils into solids to give margarine its consistency and extend its shelf life, produces trans fats. These fats boost the risk of heart attacks and strokes, clog arteries, increase bad cholesterol, LDL, and decrease good cholesterol, HDL. Furthermore, refined oils, preservatives, and artificial ingredients that cause inflammation in the body are frequently included in vegetable creams. Regular trans fat consumption has been linked to an increased risk of insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease, according to studies. Margarine's ability to develop harmful compounds that harm cells and hasten aging is another unspoken risk. This implies that cooking with margarine may introduce toxic substances into your diet, which could be detrimental to your heart and general well-being. Number 8. Fine pastas and breads. It's time to discover how they affect cardiovascular health if you enjoy a plate of pasta for dinner or a warm French bread for breakfast. White flour is refined to remove fiber and nutrients before being used to make refined breads and pastas. The outcome? A high glycemic item that causes a fast rise in blood sugar and adds to the buildup of visceral fat. The body creates more insulin to control rising blood sugar levels when we ingest too much refined carbohydrates. An important contributing element to metabolic disorders, including type 2 diabetes and obesity, two significant risk factors for heart disease, is insulin resistance, which can result from this ongoing cycle. Triglycerides, a form of fat that clogs arteries and raises cardiovascular risks, can also be produced by too much blood glucose. Why do these foods pose such a risk? The fact that refined breads and pastas don't offer sustained fullness is one of their main drawbacks. This implies that you can feel hungry again soon after consuming a dish of pasta or a few pieces of white bread, which will result in overindulging in calories and gaining weight. There is a strong correlation between high blood pressure and cardiovascular disorders and this weight gain, particularly abdominal fat. Look out for whole wheat labels. In reality, a lot of goods with the label whole wheat only contain a little amount of whole flour combined with white flour and additional sugars. This implies that you can be ingesting a product that damages your heart even if you believe you are selecting a healthier option. Healthy substitutes for carbohydrates. Choosing high-quality carbs like sweet potatoes, brown rice, quinoa, and 100% whole wheat bread is the greatest option if you want to safeguard your health. Because of their high fiber content, these meals help control blood sugar absorption and encourage prolonged periods of satiety. Additionally, stay put. You're about to experience the worst cuisine for your heart. Industrialized sweets, number 7. It's time to change your eating habits if you can't resist an ice cream cone, a slice of cake, or a loaded cookie after supper. Refined sugar and trans fats are two very dangerous ingredients that are combined in industrialized sweets, making them one of the heart's worst adversaries. This combination greatly raises the risk of diabetes, obesity, and heart disease, which is lethal for the cardiovascular system. Why do industrial sweets pose such a risk? Increases in blood sugar and insulin resistance. Because refined sugar raises blood sugar levels quickly, the pancreas must make a lot of insulin to bring the blood sugar levels back into equilibrium. This can eventually result in insulin resistance, which is a major contributing factor to type 2 diabetes, a disease that is closely associated with an elevated risk of heart attacks and strokes. Buildup of triglycerides and artery blockage. A diet high in sugar raises triglyceride levels, which in turn causes plaque to accumulate in the arteries. This puts additional strain on the heart by obstructing blood circulation. Chemical additives that are hazardous. Artificial flavorings, colorants, and preservatives are frequently used in industrialized confections. Despite their apparent innocuousness, regular usage can affect the liver and kidneys and result in chronic inflammation. This accumulation of pollutants eventually impairs the body's capacity to metabolize sugars and fats, raising the risk of cardiovascular illnesses even further. Healthy substitutes for sweets. It's advisable to dramatically cut back on processed sweets and go for healthier options like these to safeguard your heart. Dark chocolate, containing a lot of cocoa. Desserts prepared at home using natural components. A naturally sweet dessert made from dried fruits. Choosing foods that provide nutrients instead of merely hazardous compounds and empty calories is crucial. 6. Fast food. Fast food is the one food category that combines all the things that are most detrimental to heart. A deadly combination of saturated fats, trans fats, hidden sugars, and chemical additives can be found in fast food establishment hamburgers, French fries, nuggets, and pizzas. These foods can harm the cardiovascular system irreparably, even though they are tasty and convenient. The most serious issues with fast food: too much trans and saturated fat. Reused oils are frequently used to fry fast food, producing inflammatory and harmful chemicals. These fats boost the risk of heart disease and strokes, stiffen arteries, and increase bad cholesterol, LDL. Additionally, too much saturated fat builds up in the liver, compromising its ability to detoxify. Extremely high sodium level. Fast food is laden with sodium-based preservatives to improve flavor and preserve it. High blood pressure, fluid retention, and increased cardiac strain can all result from consuming too much sodium. Undiscovered sugars in drinks and sauces. Even the sauces and seasonings used in many fast food dishes contain hidden sugars. Refined flour, which raises blood sugar and encourages insulin resistance, is used to make the breads used in sandwiches. Regular, rich in sugar and diet, including artificial sweeteners. Sodas both raise the risk of inflammation and metabolic diseases. How to make better decisions. Limiting your consumption of fast food is crucial if you wish to safeguard your heart. To promote long-term cardiovascular health, choose to cook at home using whole, unprocessed products instead. Fifth, energy drinks. Despite their detrimental effects on heart health, many people use energy drinks to stay alert and productive. High levels of sugar, caffeine, and other substances found in these extremely stimulating drinks can raise blood pressure and quicken the heartbeat. Why do energy drinks cause problems? Too much caffeine. While some energy drinks have more than 300 milligrams of caffeine per can, a cup of coffee only has about 80 milligrams. In susceptible people, this high dosage may result in palpitations, tachycardia, fast heartbeat, and potentially cardiac arrhythmias. Energy drinks have the potential to be deadly for those who are already at risk for cardiovascular issues. High levels of artificial sweeteners and sugar. These beverages' high sugar content causes insulin resistance, blood sugar rises, and metabolic disorders. Artificial sweeteners worsen heart health by interfering with liver and gut bacteria function. Combinations of dangerous stimulants. Caffeine's effects are intensified by substances like taurine and guarana, which can result in cardiac overload. Frequent use of energy drinks has been linked in studies to elevated blood pressure and an increased risk of heart attacks and strokes. Better substitutes. Choose the following if you need an energy boost. White heavy checkmark water. Teas without sugar. White heavy checkmark products high in nutrients. Balanced meals that include complex proteins and carbohydrates. Number 4, breakfast cereals with sugar. Eating a bowl of vibrant, crunchy breakfast cereal to start the day could be detrimental to your health. The majority of cereals are loaded with sugar, refined flour, and heart-harming chemicals, even though they are promoted as healthful. What are the cardiovascular effects of breakfast cereals? Elevated glycemic index. Simple carbs found in these cereals quickly transform into glucose, causing blood sugar levels to rise. This recurring process raises the risk of cardiovascular illnesses by causing insulin resistance and elevated triglycerides. Corn syrup with high fructose and artificial sweeteners. High fructose corn syrup is used by many brands to improve flavor. This raises blood pressure, causes inflammation, and increases the risk of obesity. It speeds up atherosclerosis, a condition in which fatty plaques build up in arteries and obstruct cardiac blood flow. Dangerous substances. Artificial colorants and preservatives have been connected to chronic inflammation, metabolic problems, and even a loss in brain function. Better options for breakfast. Replace sugary cereals with white heavy checkmark whole grains, white heavy checkmark sugar-free, homemade granola, cereals made with whole grains. These choices promote heart health, control blood sugar, and offer long-lasting fullness. Number 3, dairy products and whole milk. Although milk, cheese, butter, and cream are good sources of protein and calcium, they're also high in saturated fats, which can raise the risk of cardiovascular disease if consumed in excess. Whole dairy products risks. Increases LDL or bad cholesterol. LDL cholesterol, which can clog arteries and increase the risk of heart attacks and strokes, is elevated by saturated fats, increasing weight and metabolic syndrome. The calorie content of whole dairy products is high. When coupled with sedentary lifestyle, they increase the risk of heart disease by causing obesity, insulin resistance, hypertension, and inflammation. Antibiotics and hormones are present. Hormones and antibiotics used in cattle farming are found in many industrial dairy products, which can upset the hormonal balance and exacerbate inflammation. Healthy dairy substitutes for the heart. Think about heavy checkmark lactose-free or skim milk, white heavy checkmark plant-based alternatives, such as soy, almond, or oat milk, White heavy checkmark non-dairy calcium sources, such as tofu. Second on the list, prepared sauces. Do you enjoy barbecue sauce, mayonnaise, or ketchup? Let's look at the labels. These condiments conceal large levels of harmful fats, sugar, and sodium, all of which are bad for your heart. How are the hearts affected by industrial sauces? Too much sugar, up to 4 grams of sugar or 1 sugar cube, can be found in 1 tablespoon of ketchup. Added sugars raise triglycerides, cause blood sugar levels to rise, and obstruct arteries. Elevated sodium content. Sodium-based preservatives found in many sauces lead to increased heart strain, fluid retention, and elevated blood pressure. High sodium intake dramatically raises the risk of hypertension, according to studies. High fructose corn syrup is one of the harmful sweeteners. This artificial sweetener encourages the buildup of visceral fat, inflammation, and fatty liver disease, all of which are associated with heart issues. Healthy substitutes for sauce. White heavy checkmark making sauces at home using fresh ingredients. White heavy checkmark natural herbs, lemon, and olive oil for flavor. Sugar-free, low-sodium alternatives. You should pay more attention to the ingredients list if you regularly use commercial condiments like barbecue sauce, mayonnaise, or ketchup. These sauces offer taste, but they're also high in sugar, sodium, bad fats, and artificial additives, all of which are bad for your heart. Unknown risks associated with industrialized sauces, artificial additives, and preservatives. Monosodium glutamate, MSG, and other flavor enhancers, colorants, and preservatives are found in many sauces. These chemicals disrupt metabolism and fuel chronic inflammation, which is a major cause of heart disease. Too much sodium. Condiments high in sodium can raise blood pressure, cause fluid retention, and overwork the heart. Heart attacks, strokes, and hypertension are all directly associated with high sodium intake. Dangerous sweeteners. High fructose corn syrup, which is used in many sauces, raises the risk of heart disease and encourages the buildup of visceral fat. Better substitutes. White heavy checkmark homemade sauces created with natural spices, garlic, olive oil, and fresh tomatoes. White heavy checkmark clean label sauces that don't contain artificial additives or a lot of ingredients. White heavy checkmark heart healthy seasonings, such as vinegar, lemon juice, and herbs. Bacon and processed meats come in first. Bacon is one food that has captured the palates of people all across the world. Bacon is one of the most popular processed meats and can be found in pizza, burgers, breakfasts, and gourmet meals. But beneath its delicious flavor and enticing crunch is a major risk to heart health. Why are processed meats and bacon dangerous? High content of saturated fat. Saturated fats are abundant in processed meats, such as salami, ham, sausages, and bacon. These cause plaque to accumulate in arteries by raising LDL, bad cholesterol. This raises the risk of heart attacks and strokes by causing atherosclerosis, a disorder that hardens and narrows arteries over time. Nitrites and nitrates are present. These chemical preservatives help processed meats retain their flavor and color. They can transform into nitrosamines, which are extremely inflammatory and perhaps carcinogenic when heated by frying, grilling, or baking. One of the main risk factors for cardiovascular disorders is chronic inflammation. Too much sodium. The high salt content of processed meats raises blood pressure and strains the heart. According to studies, eating processed meats on a regular basis greatly increases the risk of heart disease and high blood pressure. Alternatives to heart-healthy proteins. White heavy checkmark eggs, a fantastic source of vital minerals and protein. White heavy checkmark fish, packed with heart-protective omega-3 fatty acids. White heavy checkmark grilled chicken, a low-saturated fat, lean protein choice. White heavy checkmark smoked foods prepared at home. These meats have a comparable smoky flavor without the use of dangerous chemicals by using natural spices and slow baking. Take charge of your heart's health. Your longevity and general well-being can be greatly impacted by even minor dietary adjustments. My goal is to help you live a healthier, happier life. So please subscribe to the channel if you want to continue learning about the foods that are best and worst for your heart. Number 3, dairy products and whole milk. Milk, cheese, butter, and cream are excellent sources of protein and calcium. But consuming whole dairy product in excess can pose serious risks to your heart health. The hidden dangers of whole dairy products. Keycap 1 increases bad cholesterol, LDL. Whole dairy products are high in saturated fats, which elevate LDL cholesterol. This increases the risk of arterial plaque buildup, heart attacks, and strokes. Keycap 2 promotes weight gain and metabolic syndrome. Dairy products are calorie dense, and when combined with a sedentary lifestyle, they contribute to white heavy checkmark obesity, white heavy checkmark insulin resistance, white heavy checkmark hypertension, white heavy checkmark chronic inflammation, a major factor in heart disease. Keycap 3 contains antibiotics and hormones. Many industrial dairy products contain growth hormones and antibiotics from cattle farming. These compounds can disrupt hormonal balance and increase inflammation in the body. Heart-healthy dairy alternatives. White heavy checkmark plant-based milk, almond, oat, or soy milk. White heavy checkmark skimmed or lactose-free milk. White heavy checkmark tofu and other non-dairy calcium sources. Number 2, ready-made sauces. Do you love barbecue sauce, mayonnaise, or ketchup? While they add flavor, most commercial sauces are loaded with unhealthy fats, sugar, and sodium, making them a silent threat to your heart. How industrial sauces harm heart health. Keycap 1 hidden sugars. Just 1 tablespoon of ketchup contains up to 4 grams of sugar, equivalent to a sugar cube. Excess sugar spikes blood sugar, raises triglycerides, and contributes to artery blockages. Keycap 2 high sodium levels. Many sauces use sodium-based preservatives, which white heavy checkmark increase blood pressure. White heavy checkmark cause fluid retention. White heavy checkmark overwork the cardiovascular system. Keycap 3 harmful sweeteners. Ingredients like high fructose corn syrup contribute to white heavy checkmark inflammation, white heavy checkmark fatty liver disease, white heavy checkmark visceral fat accumulation, a major risk for heart disease. Heart-healthy sauce alternatives. White heavy checkmark homemade sauces with fresh ingredients. White heavy checkmark natural herbs, lemon juice, and olive oil for flavor. White heavy checkmark low sodium, sugar-free sauce alternatives. Number 1, bacon and processed meats. Bacon is one of the most beloved foods worldwide, found in breakfasts, pizzas, burgers, and gourmet dishes. However, behind its crunchy, smoky flavor lies a serious risk to heart health. Why are processed meats dangerous? Keycap 1 high saturated fat content. Bacon, sausages, ham, and salami are loaded with saturated fats. These increase LDL, bad cholesterol, leading to plaque buildup in arteries and higher risks of heart attacks and strokes. Keycap 2 presence of nitrites and nitrates. These chemical preservatives are used to enhance flavor and color. When cooked, fried, grilled, or baked, they can form nitrosamines, compounds that are highly inflammatory and potentially carcinogenic. Keycap 3 excess sodium. Processed meats are extremely high in salt, which raises blood pressure, increases strain on the heart, heightens the risk of cardiovascular disease. Heart-healthy protein alternatives. Eggs, nutrient-rich and a great protein source. Fish, packed with omega-3 fatty acids that protect the heart. Grilled chicken, a lean protein with less saturated fat. Homemade smoked meats, using natural spices and slow baking for the smoky flavor without harmful additives. Take control of your heart health. Even small dietary changes can dramatically improve your longevity and overall well-being. If you want to keep learning about the best and worst foods for your heart, subscribe to the channel, because my mission is to help you live a healthier, longer life.